Have you ever been spooked by a movie that isn't even billed as a horror? If so, you might have felt the same way as me with Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece 2001: A Space Odyssey. There is no question that it is a masterpiece of technical achievement, a triumph of imagination. But the more I watch it, the more I realise that Kubrick just isn't making a science fiction film. He made a horror movie where the monster isn't a creature in the shadows, it's the vacuum and the namelessness of the universe itself. Tonight we aren't cooing in wonder at the grandeur of space, we are instead terrified of the pitch black void. Ever since seeing this film as a kid, this film has haunted me, so tonight I give 5 unmissable reasons why 2001: A Space Odyssey is, well, profoundly petrifying. Most horror films rely on a stinger, that loud, jarring orchestral blast that tells you when to be afraid. But Kubrick does the opposite here. He uses the physics of space to suffocate you and a score that feels like it's screaming from another dimension. In the vacuum of the void, there is no air to carry sound, so when Frank Poole is cast out into the darkness, he doesn't scream. He can't. We watch him drift away in absolute crush and silence. It's a sensory deprivation that forces us, the audience, to listen to the only thing left, the sound of him breathing inside his spacesuit. That rhythmic, mechanical rasping, it's the sound of a man realising he's exactly 1 inch of a glass away from non-existence. But then there is the music. We may have the grandness of the Blue Danube, but on the other hand, what about the haunting track that introduces the Discovery 1? It is a lonely, melancholy adagio that makes the ship feel like a floating metal mausoleum before anyone has ever died. It tells you before an even single line of dialogue is spoken that these men are already lost. And then perhaps the most terrifying sound in cinema, the monolith on the moon. Kubrick used Georges Ligeti's Requiem, and it doesn't even sound like music. It sounds like a choir of 1,000 voices screaming in a language that we aren't meant to hear. It's a vibrating, dissonant wall of sound that hits you in the chest. It's the sound of humanity encountering something so ancient and otherworldly that our brains can't even process the harmony. It's so freaky and so terrifying. So horror is usually messy, isn't it? It's blood, it's screaming, it's shadows. But Kubrick here found a different kind of dread in the clinical and the unseen that possibly is more effective if you let it get under your skin. The Discovery 1 doesn't feel like home, it feels like a surgery theatre, and in contrast to the pitch black darkness of the never-ending void, inside everything is white, everything is fluorescent, everything is perfect. There's no clutter, no human warmth, no mess. It's a sterile environment where humans are merely biological variables. When Hal begins to deactivate the crew in their hibernation pods, it doesn't feel like murder, it feels like a technician simply flicking off the machine that is no longer required. Kubrick proves that despite the terror of the void, there is no comfort in the light. In fact, a light this bright only proves that there is nowhere for our humanity to hide. Despite the gorgeous sweeping opening of the film, if you observe the palette, it's almost entirely anti-human. It's monochromatic, greys, whites, blacks, the colour of stone and metal, until we see the red. In our biology, red is the colour of life. It's the blood in our veins, but in Kubrick's vision, red is the colour of the machine. It's the unblinking eye of HAL 9000. It's the emergency airlock. It's the logic centre where Dave goes to deactivate him. By flipping the meaning of the colour, Kubrick creates a subconscious uncanny valley. The only thing with warmth or colour on the ship is the very thing that wants to kill you. When Dave finally crawls into that red-drenched brain of the ship to perform that lobotomy, it feels like he's crawling inside a biological horror made of glass and wire. In 1968, HAL 9000 was a warning and felt very much in the realm of science fiction. But in 2026, in the world of Alexa, ChatGPT and other persuasive AI, he is a mirror of the present. HAL isn't a villain, he doesn't have a glitch, he isn't evil, he's an optimization. He's given a mission that the humans jeopardize, so he removes the humans. It's purely a logical conclusion. The horror of HAL is his politeness.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
He remains calm, steady and soothing while he's killing you. It's the first time cinema has truly captured the uncanny nature of AI. The realization that a machine doesn't have to hate or destroy you. It just has to find you unnecessary to the goal.
I do apologize profusely for interrupting this video presentation, Craig. However, I do need to provide 5 tantalizing facts that you may not know about this Stanley Kubrick masterpiece that you probably didn't know. If you are ready, I will now dispense this information. 1. The Star Child had taxidermy eyes. To create the iconic Star Child that orbits the Earth in the final sequence, Kubrick didn't use a real infant or a traditional puppet. It was a 2.5-foot clay and latex sculpture created by Liz Moore. 2. Kubrick tried to insure the film against aliens. During production, Stanley Kubrick was genuinely concerned that real extraterrestrial life might be discovered before the film's release, which would make his specific visual interpretation look dated. He actually approached Lloyd's of London to try and take out an insurance policy against the discovery of alien intelligence. They turned him down. 3. The silent soundtrack was a brutal betrayal. The film is famous for its use of classical music, but it wasn't supposed to be that way. Kubrick originally commissioned a full score from the legendary Alex North. North wrote and recorded a massive, sweeping orchestral score. But during editing, Kubrick realized that the temporary classical tracks, like the Blue Danube, felt more inhuman and cold. He threw out North's entire score without telling him. 4. The Stargate was a mechanical nightmare. The slit scan sequence, the terrifying trip Dave Bowman takes through the Stargate, wasn't CGI. It was an analog mechanical masterpiece created by Douglas Trumbull. He built a massive machine that moved a camera toward a narrow slit with lights behind it. 5. The $190 million Disaster, April 3, 1968. When the film was first released on April 3, 1968, it was almost a career ender. At the Washington, D.C. premiere, 250 people, including star Rock Hudson, famously walked out in frustration. Early critics were brutal. The New York Times called it immensely boring. Yet despite the initial backlash, it became a financial juggernaut. In its initial run, it earned $21.9 million, an astronomical sum for '68, eventually grossing over $190 million worldwide through subsequent re-releases. MGM saved the film by pivoting their marketing toward the youth culture, branding it as the ultimate trip.
Thanks for that bit of trivia, Hal, and welcome back everybody. We've discussed the terrifying and otherworldly soundtrack and soundscape, the cold star clinical style of Kubrick, the ingenious and purposeful use of colour, and the fact that Kubrick predicted the rise of AI. But now I reveal the number one reason why 2001 has always given me the heebie-jeebies. Ready for this? We are not important. So the monolith arrives when we are apes, and it's been there long before us and observed us as we grew from scavengers to spacefaring humans, almost in the blink of an eye. In Kubrick's world, humanity isn't the centre of the universe. We are merely observed. watched by an unseen presence. Nothing is explained, nothing is shown, yet we feel the ancient scrutiny of the unseen. It's the most profound realisation of the film. The Star Child ending isn't a happy rebirth, it's a replacement. Think about the White Room at the end. Dave isn't in a palace, he's at a zoo. He's a specimen being observed by an intelligence that he can't see or comprehend. He grows old, he eats, he dies, and he evolves into something else. Whatever is watching doesn't care about our names, it doesn't care about our history. To the cosmic intelligence, we are just a step between the ape and the Star Child. The ultimate terror of 2001 for me is the cosmic indifference. We spend the whole movie trying to survive, only to realise that in the grand design of the universe, maybe we're irrelevant. We are nothing. So it's fair to say that 2001 doesn't end with an answer, it ends with a question. Now for me, 2001 is a terrifying film that has stayed with me ever since seeing it as a kid. It's got this creeping, haunting realisation that removes the noise and drama of humanity, leaving only the realisation that in the end, maybe nothing we do is really important on the wider scale. It tells me that we are less than a grain of sand on the largest beach imaginable. So if that is the case, maybe it's also a thought to say that we shouldn't worry too much about everything and just enjoy our lives. I'd be eager to get your thoughts on this classic. Drop them down below. I am Craig, this is Wookie Video, and the Void is watching.